Hi everyone, it's Anne here again. Now, please bear with me today because I've got quite a lot here that I want to cram in. And you might notice in the title that I call them recycled envelopes. I'm going to get to those in a second, but I'll just show you what led me to that. I just love the insides of the envelopes more than the outsides most of the time. You get all sorts of different patterns. This one's got a grey swirly pattern, this one's orange. These ones I've already dyed, but I just love the look of the inside better than the outside. So this is all about turning them inside out. So to start off with, I've just got a Commoner Garden window envelope, a new one. And I was playing with them the other day and I thought, what can I do that's different other than just a pocket? Anyway, I started pulling them apart. Now, be careful, you can just usually tear them down the seam there. They do come apart quite easily. Look at that. I did have trouble with some of them getting the plastic off. Sometimes it comes off in one piece and other times it wants to leave bits of plastic behind. This one seems to be coming off. No, it's leaving plastic behind. So what I do in that case, I just go over to the front, just lightly spray it with a little bit of water and just leave it for a few seconds. And once the water's soaked into the paper, you can usually get the plastic window piece off in one piece. Yeah, like that. Okay. Now you need to let that dry, but I've got one here I think that I did dry off. Let me just have a look. Yes, here we go. Here's one that I dried. So it was a normal envelope. I removed the window and that's what I'm left with. So then I fold it up inside out. And I thought, alright, and I could put something in there before I glue it down or stitch it or whatever. So I decided to use, in some of them, a piece of lace. I've got some here, so a little bit of lace, just slightly bigger than the hole, so that you've got something to stick or sew down. In fact, I'm going to stick this down because it's hard to get the lace in place, and know where to stitch it. So it's easier if you just apply a little bit of glue stick. I suggest you just use glue stick because if you use other glues, that adhesive tends to come off on your sewing machine needle and it makes it all gungy. A little bit of glue stick doesn't hurt. So it just puts the lace into place while I turn it over, take it to my machine, sew around the frame, and then once I've sewn around the frame I can assemble the envelope inside out. I've still got the sticky bit to pull off, like that, tuck that in, stick it to my fingers, like that, and then I could go around to my machine and sew that all the way around the edge, and I've already sewn around the frame, and that would lend itself to a really nice journaling card because you've got all this space back and front to use for writing on. I've got this one here that I did stitch. It's stitched back and front. You perhaps can't see the white on the front. but instead of lace I put in this little boy. And I had a frame window piece from a different coloured envelope, so I just stitched that on because it just gave a bit of contrast. So that's the plain new envelopes. Of course I wasn't happy to just do that because I like to experiment. And I have a huge amount of envelopes that come in everyday things. All my bills and everything, bank statements, whatever, come in these kind of window envelopes. Sometimes you're lucky and you get a double window like that. And I rip them open for the contents and then put them in a box. And then when I'm having a day where I dye things, or if I've got any dye left over, I chuck them in and I leave them in for quite a long time till they get grungy. And I pop them out in the sun to dry, and then they get these nice dark marks on them. So I had a lot of these and I thought, okay, I want to use these recycled ones. So what I did was, put those out of the way. The recycled ones, sometimes after they've been dyed, the window peels off easier. So check first whether yours is going to peel off. This one seems to be coming off okay. And you might not have to wet it. No, it's just a little bit of the plastic left on. Come off.
5 hours later.
Come on, you can do it. Got most of it off just by pulling it. There's just a tiny bit on there which I'll need to just wet on the other side so I can remove it completely. But anyway, that's just an incidental. They may come off easily, they might not. You might have to resort to the wetting it on the other side and then letting it dry. You can always use your heat gun to dry it if you're in a hurry to get it done. Alright, so what I did was the same as the other one, but these are the tea dyed envelopes. And this one, I put a piece of lace under it and stitched that in first, but then I just stitched up the sides and left the top flap open so I could use it as a pocket. So there's that one. These two I stitched around them so they can be used as journaling cards. This one's just got the lace in it. And this one I put a card inside so you can write that way on there and then you can write this way on here, and I thought that might look a bit different. And I do like how grungy they are, and because you've got two layers together and they're stitched together, it's almost as stiff as card. It's no longer just paper. Alright, so that's those. Right, these were the new envelopes that I tea dyed. That's how grungy they came up. Now the recycled ones that I'd ripped open, I just love the torn edge on these. And I found that just by folding them in half and stitching around them, I just liked how they came out. I felt like I didn't need to do anything else to it. Here's one that I haven't done yet. You see how grungy the envelope was. And it was one of these double ones. And I just want to put that on there. I'll probably off-centre it a bit because I like all these bits around the edges. So I might do that and just sew it down so that I've got a card that's got all these nice kind of tatty bits around the outside. Alright. So I'll do that and I'll put a picture of it on at the end. Now, the other thing that I found was that I just liked the paper, the envelopes. Where are we? I just like them as they are. But they weren't much use for anything. So I was thinking, what can I do to make them useful but to retain all these nice torn pieces and die marks. So I got one and I just put it onto a book page. And that's all I did. I stuck the thing onto a book page like that. And that's given me a piece of paper which I can now use as a background for something. I do anything that you normally do with paper. So I quite liked that one. This one was 2 bits of envelope that I had left over. As you can see, that's the top of one, like that. And I just simply glued one on top of the other to make this square piece of paper, which I can now use, maybe fold it into a pocket or a little book page, or make some tags. You can use either side. I love all these marks. They look so old and worn. So that was that one. But this one was my favourite one. This one, I got a piece of card and some tea dyed paper and these 2 bits of envelope. I'll show you how I did that. So I started off with a piece of a dyed card, and I've got a piece of paper, and I'm just going to roughly tear down the edge of the paper to give me a nice torn edge, because it's all about the layers. Like here, it's all about the different layers. So I don't want it straight. The more wiggly waggly and rough it is, the more I like it. And the more I get this kind of white piece where the edge is torn half the paper, just on the top coat off, I like that even better. So I'm just going to tear it like that. Those bits of waste. Now, just bring in this plastic. I've got some tea dye, or as I've said in the past, I use the Parisian essence, and I've usually got some made up ready to go. And I just put the edges in that. Don't have to be careful because you want it to run and be soaking into the paper quite a way. Okay. And I've managed to get some on my white background, which doesn't matter because it will wash out. Alright. I'm just going to put some glue on this piece because this piece is dry and it's not so delicate. And put that piece down on there. I'm going to roll it so it's nice and flat. Alright, and then I'm going to use this one. think we'll use. Now this was the one with a little bit of plastic on, so I'll just, whoops, there goes the glue. I'll just see if I can get the rest of that little bit of window piece to come off. Oh look, that's transferred, isn't that great? Wow, happy accidents. No, it just wants to tear. That's okay, we'll tear it. There are no mistakes, there's only opportunities to do things in a different way. Alright, let's retrieve my glue. Stick that right in the middle. Alright, so it might look a bit funny like that because you've just got this piece stuck in the middle. But once it's dry, you can make the most wonderful tags from it. I made these ones. And I just love those. They've just got such personality. And they all came from a piece like this. And what I did was I made a template. If I can find what I've done with it. There it is. I cut out a tag shape from this piece of cereal box. And instead of keeping the tag, which I used for something else, I just kept the middle, because now you can use this as a template to lay it on and see where you want to cut your tags from before you actually cut them. I like that. I like that. The piece is just lifted. That's not so interesting. I like that. It doesn't always have to be straight. I could do them on an angle like that. I do like that one, like that there. So I'm just going to get a pen and draw around the tag shape with my template. And then I can cut that out. Yeah. And then using the hole punch, just make a little hole. A bit of glue on there. And I've got a tag which is so unique. I love that. Let's make another one. That one would be so nice. It's probably not the most efficient way of using the card, but I do like it. Now I've lost my pen again. Here it is. And don't forget, with all the little bits left over, even if they're irregular shapes, you can make tiny tags out of them. There you go. Alright, I think that's my favourite one. I just love those tags. You could stamp on them if you want to, or just do some writing, or you can just leave them as they are. I think they're just beautiful as they are. And these bits that are left over, I'll just grab my little tag punch. And you can line these up by turning the punch over so you can see underneath what you're getting. These little cute baby ones. Whoops. Like that. Alright. Well, that's what I was having fun with earlier, and I thought, okay, let's make a video of this because it's all in my head and fresh. Once I move on to the next thing, I won't remember a thing about this. Anyway, that's my video for today. I hope you have some fun making them, and also dyeing your own recycled envelopes. That's the fun part, because you don't have to buy anything, and you get to use all the junk mail that comes, or bills or whatever, for a nice project in your journals. So turn all those nasty bill envelopes into something useful. Alright, if you've got this far, I thank you for your patience, and thanks again for watching, and I hope you have fun making some. I'll see you again soon, I hope, in the next video. Bye for now.